Good evening, everyone. I welcome
Good
you all
evening.
for this session. Nandini will take us through some exploration of inquiry, what it is today. So, Nandini, are you ready? You're mute. Hi. Should we wait for another couple of minutes or we'll start? Nandini?
How many people? Oh, yeah, they aren't.
I think Meenu, Shilpi, a few more will join. But you can start. Loosely, you can start.
I think we can begin the dialogue.
Yes. So what do you, Nandini? I'll be available back. Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome to the session today. I'm Nandini, and I'm your facilitator today. My topic is inquiry, and the way that appealed to me was to take you through a general perception of what inquiry means to each one of us as we go along our daily lives, and then proceed to specifically what we have in mind from the desk of Nature Cure. Now, what comes to mind when we are talking about inquiry? I want to ask the audience, people who have bothered to join us, what they think of the word inquiry. What comes to mind? Curiosity, questioning. Yeah, Deepa, do you have something to say? What comes to mind generally?
Yeah, I guess, exploring.
Exploring, yeah.
Not coming to any conclusion.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so let us go through this.
Harmit wants to say something. Yes, Harmit, please.
Yes, please. Sorry.
Yes, I'm a new participant here, and this is my first time. So I would just like to share that inquiry, in my perception, in my understanding, is that when I don't understand anything and I want to know more about it, when I'm completely blank and I want to find a path, that's what inquiry is in my perception, in my thought process.
So, yes, of course. And so you're curious about that particular topic. That is the reason.
Even if I have little information and it excites me and I want to go deeper into it and understand more about what it is, if it is intriguing to me or it is either bothering me or it is giving me a kick and I want to know more, that's when I start taking the next step forward. Inquiry is basically taking the next step forward.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let us have a quote here. Asking why can lead to understanding, and asking why not can lead to breakthroughs. This is quite a simple enough thing to understand that when we question, if we need something and we try and understand, like necessity is supposed to be the mother of invention. There is a need, and so we find ways and means to fulfill that need. And this why not is another dimension to a problem. Another quote I have here, and let me see what you make out of it. Most of us die at 27. We just bury them at 72. How? How does that happen? What does that mean? Does it mean anything to anybody? Most of us die at 27. We just bury them at 72. Isn't that shocking?
Harmit wants to reflect. Yeah, please, Harmit.
I think it's because we stop expecting more from life and we just settle with what we have, and we don't question a lot of things, and we just say ठीक है जो हो रहा है होने दो.
It's something
I oppose
like that.
Society. Yeah. मैं क्या कर लूंगी?
So,
What kind of change can I bring? That is the kind of thought process we come to terms with. That's why we stop being
so
rebellious.
maybe maybe we stop growing. Maybe we stop forming connections. Maybe we stop wanting to change. Yeah, probably. Let's go through. So asking questions, like you said, Herman, is an effective way to also communicate better, also to connect with others, which is so important for us to share experiences with each other and insights to create these connections, which is vital for human life. And this also forms a powerful foundation for lasting relationships as we go along in life and leads to, it builds a lot of good emotional intelligence. Now, also there is another facet to this curiosity, this knack of it. If there is no harm in asking, why do we feel a certain guilt sometimes or a fear when we ask questions? We've all been in school and in classes. And I can say for sure that I used to fear asking questions. I could be probably feeling that what are the others going to think that I don't know? Yeah, it happens to most of us. But also being willing to ask dumb questions is ironically the smartest thing we can do. Because learning the basics of any skill or trade or craft is often when we um, are likely to get stuck. But being willing to ask for those basic queries helps to build a foundation that can lead us to advanced parts of the skill. So are you inquisitive or curious or interested or speculating about what I'm talking about? Then let us go further. Now, let's begin with the first slide, sir.
Nandini, are you able to see the slide on your phone?
No.
You're not? What about others?
Can
I
see,
can.
sir.
They are visible. Yeah.
So what do I do then?
Nandini, are you on Zoom on your screen?
Yeah.
It must be appearing there as a shared screen.
No. What should I do? Yeah, now it's now I have gone and the slides are appearing.
Yeah, you are able to see. What do you see on the screen?
Yeah. I see you and the slides.
Yes, yes. So whenever you will be talking, others will be seeing you and the slide. Yeah, please go ahead.
So the first slide.
You want to go to the first slide or?
Yes, the first slide. So here we have Einstein and he's looking like strange. And he says that I have no special gift. I'm only passionately curious. So let us look around. What do we see? What do we perceive? What do we examine? Amongst people, generally, who are these curious people? Do you observe people around? Do people have some adaptive attributes? Have you noticed? Or no? Are they timid? Do you find some people appreciate beauty? They have the time to appreciate a flower blooming, or maybe a car which is really swanky, or maybe a beautiful piece of jewelry, or are there some people who enjoy complex and abstract thinking? Some people also demonstrate strong and intellectual capacity. Some people appear to be playful, others are dull. Some show comfort in uncertainty and anxiety, others are extremely uncomfortable. Some people appear to be criticizing, judging, or blaming other people. Some are liberal, some are unconventional in thinking, and some can think out of the box. And the others, some friends of ours, are maybe just following what the herd is thinking and feeling. Are we ready to agree to disagree and evolve to some uncontemplated outcome? can we inquire into this? What are the sorts of people we see around and what are these qualities? Let's go to slide 2, the next one. We have looked at the conventional meaning of inquiry. Conventional meaning of inquiry would be, let's go to find out some information. There's a travel desk somewhere, so you want to get to some place. You'll probably ask which is the flight, which is the this, or whatever, get your information from there, and it ends there. Also, a reception desk, maybe at a hospital or a hotel, you have some inquiry out of them. They satisfy your query and you are done. Also, there is a rail inquiry. So there is a customer care that satisfies you. But beyond that, there is another meaning of inquiry that we will discover today. Maybe that is a smaller part of a larger set. So inquiring is showing interest in new things. When we are interested in newer developments to whatever we have already perceived. Also, it is seeking information, further information. It is maybe asking all these questions. These question words are given here: what, when, where, why, how. Being curious is not an acquired sort of a trait. It is very inbuilt, as we are going to discover. Also, probing as a court of inquiry is where all these inquiries do take place, but these are formal inquiries and which are waiting to pass judgment on whatever is the outcome. Inquisitiveness is also to be examined here. This is a knack which we all possess, and it is naturally ingrained in us. We also have an attitude to know or learn, and learn is where we are building our neural connections, which we are going to discover in a later part of the journey. So why does this inquiry happen? How does it happen? We are going to be inquiring into that. Is it a sort of a natural knack, or is it an acquired skill? Can we go to a class and learn curiosity? So can it be an acquired skill? Can I go and learn how to ask questions, or maybe have a checklist? If I do this, I am equipped to have an inquiry. Now let's look at a child. A child, when he's born, starts making a lot of. There's curious amounts of activity going on in the brain, and we are going to see further what kind of brain activity happens. It is like so many neurons firing, and that image is a very interesting image. So a child is programmed to ask questions, and how did the programming happen? That programming is like all beings are programmed for growth. Nobody can make growth happen. It happens in the natural course of things. So the child is perceiving a lot that is going on in the environment. And as soon as he is able to express, he starts asking the why and how, and sometimes that bewilders his parents. And then as the child grows, acquires so much information with his incessant questions, this inquiry progresses to adulthood. But what happens by then? There is a lot of conditioning that is taking place through society and parental role. And then through rote learning in school, in traditional schooling methods, for example, using straight-jacketed formulae and going to these coaching classes to achieve targets and of marks and courses, having to answer questions in a particular way to gain marks, etc. The learning curve gradually decreases. And so that quote that comes to mind is, you stop learning at 27. Now, as adults, like Harmit also mentioned, adults question very less because they seem to know it all. So then if inquiry is natural, what has happened to it? Where did it disappear? So let's go to the next slide now. Now I have likened inquiry to this river. Please observe this image carefully. And can somebody tell me what comes to mind? We are looking at this river flowing. There are some boulders also appearing. Water is flowing through and through. Yes?
Flow of thoughts.
Yeah. Yes. Thoughts are flowing in a natural way. There is no artificiality here.
Yeah, Harmit, you raised hand. Yeah.
I think admiring what is as is.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's true. This is showing a spontaneity. There is a flow in the natural course. And that flow can change also maybe down the river course. It completely changes its direction. We don't know for what reason. Now, suppose there's a boulder that falls on the path of this river flowing. Now, what happens? The river finds an alternative route and it continues to flow. Or it could also be that the river gets dammed. You know, there is a dam which is built, maybe with boulders, maybe a man-made dam. And what happens in such situation? There's a pressure that builds up. We all know that dams are unnatural. And there is, you know, to keep it going, you have to really manage it well, because otherwise there would be havoc if it broke open. So similarly, if this natural process of a river is dammed, it is under so much pressure that there could be damage if it escaped from there. And that is what happens when the spontaneity of inquiry is stopped somewhere. Now let's proceed to the next one. Yeah, this is slide 5. Asking why provides reflection, and asking why not drives innovation. Does it not? Are we able to reflect honestly? Are we able to introspect? Do we have deep awareness or even silence? Are we ready with an open mind for allowing all possibilities to be accessed? Are we ready to be wrong in situations? Are we ready to evolve? Are we ready to inquire without an agenda? Or why not? What can make us go beyond the usual solution? When we just decide, you know, this cannot be done, you know, our inquiry stops there. But we see in our villages and other places, there's a lot of jugaad to make things happen. So you know, these common folk, I'm just giving an example of a why not. Common folk are able to make engines out of tractors and what kind of thing. So it is the why not that drives this kind of innovation to make products where which are cheap and which are good. So there is innovation happening there. Let's go to the next slide, please. So here we have a general overview of what a curious person would look like. A curious person would be listening without judgment. So he or she would be able to maybe take in a lot of information without a curtain before that. Also, a verbal questioning mode or a non-verbal questioning mode. Sometimes we get answers with a lot of silence, or maybe with other perceptory cues which we are ready to receive. If there is wonder and excitement, when we get information, are we fully present to be in the awareness with an open mind and with understanding? So when we operate out of judgment, as we understand, we are selective to hearing to prove certain points as per our beliefs and not as per what is the information all about. The wonder aspect is that wonder of a child ready to take in as much information without preconceived notions. An open mind obviously is ready to evolve to another thought combination and go beyond what they thought in the beginning. Also, risk-taking and fear is also a part of a curious person, because there is no apprehension in thought. There is no fear. There is no perception of fear with the people who are curious. Let's go to the slide 7. Next slide, please. Now, this is a very exciting slide. Please look at this image of the neural connections. These are ideas. These are the, the inputs that the brain is receiving. This is the video of that, this image. And obviously, the technology that we have is able to show us some part of what is going on inside of us, not the whole truth, of course. But even if in its limited way, it is so exciting to see that these ideas and these neural connections, the way they are, see connecting, and the lighting that is going on inside of our brains. So this is information. It is reaching the brain. It is forming those connections. I don't know if you can see. And there are more connections happening. There is on a 3-dimensional level also, and some other dimensions are also happening. But if this thing was to get blocked, in certain cases, this heavy activity does get blocked, and we are going to examine how it gets blocked. So please carry this image in mind. This is an example of the story which we all read as children. And so I'll just describe it in a few words. You can see there is this Brahmin who was given a gift of this coat by a wealthy villager, and he's carrying it on his shoulder. And he's very happy about this gift. And here are these 3 crooks. So they want to steal, this coat. So they hatch a plan. And what they do is that this first one is standing at a distance behind the bushes. And he comes out and he says, holy Brahmin, why are you carrying a dog on your shoulders? So Brahmin is very irritated, and he says, what dog? I'm not carrying any dog on my shoulders. Can't you see it's a goat? The second crook is standing at a little distance on the path. And he says, holy person, it doesn't befit you. Why are you carrying a donkey on your shoulders? So the Brahmin is further irritated.
Wash your hands.
I'm not carrying any donkey on my shoulders. Can't you see? But there is some doubt in his head. Now the third Brahmin, the third robber meets him down the road and says, holy person, why are you carrying a dead calf on your shoulders? You shouldn't do that. By then the Brahmin starts to think that there is something wrong with this goat. There could be a demon. This thing keeps changing its shape. First it's a dog, then a donkey, now it's a dead calf. And the fear takes over, and he just chucks the goat there and then and runs away. The robbers achieve their target. They get the goat. Now, what happened to the Brahmin in this story? Can somebody tell me from the audience?
Please go ahead.
See, there were these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he just lost his faith in what he was seeing and started believing others. That's what happened to him.
Yes. And the fear took it all out, the questioning stopped. Um, if I'm in the place of the Brahmin, I am asking these questions. So maybe somebody can also pose what questions they could ask if they were the Brahmin. I am wondering, why are three people asking about only my goat in the short span of this journey and nothing else? So I am a bit skeptical. Also, why don't I go back to the person who gave me this goat and ask him what it is? Is it a goat or a dog or what? Um, so what is coming to your mind? What could he have maybe asked or inquired? Could he have asked anything? Does anybody have any questions out of this? Because we all have our unique questions. I told you these two questions that came to my
Yash,
mind.
please, Yash, please go ahead.
What's coming to my mind is actually not specific to this story, but uh, it's I think it's something that tends to happen with us that I've observed before. Uh, there's a term for it. It's called hindsight bias. So
Yeah.
let's say we are looking at the Brahmin from a perspective of being outside of that situation and being well aware of
The end.
the fact that there was something behind the Brahmin that was a goat, that we believe that it's a goat. We or let's say what we would say is that we know that it's a goat. So what we know is correct, and what the three other people said to the Brahmin, that is wrong. It's an answer. It's a foregone answer conclusion. We're resting on that ground, and from that ground, it's a very solid ground, right? From that place, we are able to sort of evaluate the Brahmin and rethink what this person, what a person in those shoes would have done. So you know now a new thought is coming at my end. So like, is this like a space where we are actually exploring ourselves and not the Brahmin? In the picture of the Brahmin, are we exploring ourselves?
Well, this is quite a vague sort of a story. So I am just trying to bring this out. That suppose I fear something. Okay, let me give another example. If I am, okay, this is about my daughter. Um, as a child, when it's time to sleep, normally we switch off the lights, and there are children who are really fearful of the dark, and they start to cry. That's a fear response. But what I had in the bedroom were these, these stickers you get, so stars and moon and all those things up on the ceiling. So she would never be afraid of the dark and not try and make me put on the light or anything like that. And it was sleep time because she would look up and there would be the stars. So we went to some place, and it was night time and the light went off suddenly. So when that happened, suddenly there was darkness. There were other children. They started to cry because they were fearful and they're looking for their mother and all. And this one, she just looks up and she's trying to see, okay, there must be stars. So what happens is, if you don't have the fear of a certain thing, like for example, darkness, here the Brahmin is having an idea of a demon. So if you don't have a fear of some particular thing, then it is not likely to emerge also. So what I'm saying is, if this Brahmin, in the case of this Brahmin, if he decides to inquire or to ask or not doubt his judgment, then this robbery would not have happened. So let's proceed to the next
On a lighter
slide.
note, actually, it was coming to my mind. Why not the Brahmin, if he would have been an inquirer, took the animal with him, considering that if it changes its species
Shape.
or shape, like whatsoever, sometime dog, sometime donkey, and
And that
sometime
dies
goat.
and-
So let me see what happens further
Yeah, it's correct.
with it. Yeah.
But he is engrossed with this fear, so he can't go beyond that.
Yeah.
So his inquiry is obviously blocked. So if the inquiry is blocked, let us think about those neural connections. So somewhere, there is that blockage, that light is not really glowing that much over there. So here we are going through the unblocking and reinstatement of inquiry. Now, unblocking is again, it's not something that you go to a shop or get something, or it's a pill that it can start the inquiry going. It comes very naturally when there is conservation of energy and vice versa. It also brings about, it comes from unblocking of, conservation of energy comes from unblocking, and unblocking comes from conservation when we are in balance. So how can this be? Now, since this knack of questioning is a natural knack, it cannot be, I cannot start doing it. So it appears to maybe come from a lot of questioning till the truth is revealed and the falsehood disappears. So this can only come when we are consciously inquiring further and further, going layer by layer into what is going on. So in the case of the Brahmin, if he thought, why are these people asking me the same thing? And then he ponders over that. Maybe he goes to the next level and has some idea about it. He maybe, I should backtrack. I could maybe go and ask somebody, what do you think this is? If I am not very sure about what I've got. But he doesn't do all that. Also, this inquiring knack is an ongoing and a dynamic process. Obviously, we can see that one question is going to lead to another. There cannot be a strategy or a goal attached to it. It is not like a football field with a goal at the end of it and two teams are playing, so you get to a particular end result. Inquiry would mean a sort of an amalgamation of so many inputs, and keep that neural connection slide in mind, because the different dimensions of reaching somewhere which is unprecedented, which is a result of so much happening in the brain. Also, a deep awareness and observation with the engagement of senses, of course, and the processing of information that would bring about a reinstatement of inquiry and unblocking of the same. Also, with a lot of freedom to inquire in whichever way, not like with blinkers on, or sort of a limitation there. An honest reflection there, and also introspection, and not taking things for granted. This is the way it is, and so I stop there. And with dogma or with certain pre-programmed, agenda. Let's go to the next one. And here is another story that we've looked at as children. This is an interesting thing. This is the 6 blind men and their interpretation of the elephant. So the first one thinks that the elephant is a snake. The second one, as we can see, is thinking that no, an elephant is a wall. And the third one thinks that the elephant is a fan. I think that's what it's thinking. And the fourth one has his own interpretation. The fifth one thinks no, the elephant is a spear. What are you saying? And the sixth one thinks that this is a snake and that one is like something else. And to the exclusion of each other. We all know that truth is what each of us perceives, but it is much more than that. That is just one part of it. And truth itself has no boundary. An elephant doesn't have a boundary because, it comprises of so many things which come together. But it is much more than that. So it is much more than the sum of its parts. Also, take a look at this. This is how they are interpreting it, and how these blind people are saying, what are you saying? It is actually this, to the exclusion. I mean, they are not bringing their information together to make it into something.
Nandini, sorry to interrupt. I think few seconds are left for this session, so we need to rejoin to another session and take up the Q&As and furtherance of your presentation. Right? So let's rejoin everyone. I request you to rejoin the session using the same link for the continuation of the session. Thank you.